Ready? All right, well, I want to welcome everybody here. It's Monday, July 16th, 2018, and we are meeting first as the Board of Canvassers. We have a quorum, and we have Jackie Phillips, one of our board members, on the phone. She took a bad fall during the canvass, and we all wish you the best, Jackie.
Thank you very much, Jim.
We really speedy recovery. And before we begin, I just want to say publicly to Margaret and the senior staff here, and to all the staff and to all the board, I just really, we all really appreciate the hard work. You know, you've all been working round the clock with the canvass and now the recount, and your efforts are not unnoticed. You're really doing a great job. We really appreciate it. All right, so we're going to convene as the Board of Canvassers. We have a quorum, and first we're going to, should we do the minutes or just go right into the Board of Canvassers?
It's Board of Canvassers. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So Margaret, you want to report to us?
So, as part of the certification, there's an audit piece to the certification process, and that is for the voting system, logic and accuracy testing was completed, and all testing documents were submitted to the state board prior to June 26, 2018. The voting unit and poll book allocation was prepared February 12, with the final allocation submitted to the state board on March 28. On-time openings, all 11 early voting centers opened on time daily. All polling places on Election Day opened on time except 927, Rachel Carson Elementary School. The precinct opened at 7:09. We discovered that the election judge, chief election judge, closed the poll books the night before, and that was the delay. The voting system verification, 100% verification was conducted for early voting, Election Day, absentee 1 and 2, and provisional, and those results were downloaded and submitted to Clear Ballot, the SBE vendor. Precincts that were randomly drawn by the board were verified and submitted to the State Board of Elections. The canvass audits for the precincts was completed and submitted. The absentee audit was completed and submitted to the State Board. The provisional audit was completed and submitted to the State Board. Janet? Is she? Okay.
She's downstairs.
Oh, she's downstairs. Okay. Janet, do you want to address the Clear Ballot audit?
I'm not sure what you wanted to cover.
Well, okay. Election results. Never mind. Election results, 9 p.m., all early voting results were posted. We were required to delay the early voting results because of problems in Baltimore City. And so our first time we could post was at 9 p.m. At 10 p.m., 213 Election Day precincts reported, or 79.2%. 11 o'clock, 260 Election Day precincts reported, or 96.6%. And then 12:15, the last of the 6 precincts were in with 100% from Election Day. Polling place operations, election judge training took place from March 24th through June 23rd. Besides being held here at the board offices, it was held at Silver Spring Civic Center, Montgomery College, the Rockville campus, the Damascus Community Center, the White Oak Community Center. We also had videos prepared to ensure that the training message was consistent with every class. Separate training was held for early voting and same-day voter registration. The polling place evaluations for early voting have been submitted. The election day will be submitted by June 20th. The ballot accountability forms were gathered according to the requirements of the state board and were forwarded to the state board. And Janet, do you want to touch upon the clear ballot? Okay.
I can verify that we submitted the images of the ballots to Clear Ballot, the vendor that performs the independent audit of the images, and the Clear Ballot software retabulates the results working from the images, and based on the way their software views a overvote here, or a stray mark there. Candidates might pick up a vote or two, but everything was well within the margin of what the state identifies as an acceptable error.
Okay. Voter registration operations, comprehensive monthly audits are performed and conducted and submitted to the State Board of Elections in accordance to the requirements of the State Board and the Legislative Audit Services. There is an issue of voter challenges.
Let me just ask Allison. So our final results were audited by private vendors selected by the state.
That's correct.
And what was the result?
I didn't bring the results into the room, but I can go get that and provide any summary information you want.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Okay.
And just on that issue, Jim, the State Board held a webinar with the representatives for the Paul, Love, Elridge, and Blair campaigns, explaining the clear ballot process and providing them some level of access to be able to look at the ballots for overvotes, undervotes, how the ballots were filled in, the ovals were filled in, for them to evaluate what potential challenges they have.
Were there any differences in the audit in our count?
That's the report that Janet's going to get.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll, say which candidates got one more vote, depending on the way their software looks at it than ES&S's software.
So as we sit here today, the final vote is from them or from us? In other words,
From us.
taking into what they say?
No.
No?
No, we're not within the margin of error.
The vendor of the tabulation system that we use is ES&S, and it is their software that we used in order to determine the results that the board has before you to certify. The independent vendor is taking another look at the same ballots, just like you might take another look at them with a human eye at such a time as we do a recount. Based on that, there are no changes to the results. There would be no changes to the results if that software were to be tabulating the ballots.
But do the candidates have access to, if they see something different than we did? In other words, is that...
But they've been given access to look at the ballots.
Oh, they have? Okay.
We'll get the report for you that gives the totals.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So do you want to start with the challenges?
Sure. So we received a number of challenges, and in your packet, in no particular order, let's just go through them one by one. The first should be marked Elridge Challenge 1. It was 6 ballots were rejected, and the reason basically that they were not. The Elridge campaign thought that each one of these individuals was a registered voter. If you turn to the back of the first page, and so I'm just going to go by last name's Cartland. The research on that reflected that that person was not registered to vote and had not previously been registered to vote. You'll note down at the very bottom it says registration date, and that's July 2, 2018. That would have been the date that the staff would have processed the individual's provisional ballot to make them a registered voter. But prior to that date, they were not registered to vote. So the staff recommendation as to Elridge Challenge number 1 is to deny it.
Is that just for that first voter, or is that for, because the Elridge Challenge is multiple voters?
Yeah, that's just the first one. We're going to go one by one.
Okay. And when it says it's not on the MVA list, what does that mean?
It means that the list that we were provided of those voters, that the information was not transferred to the State Board of Election for it to be uploaded into MD Voters. That person's name did not appear on that list either.
And if they are not on that list, is that the final word on whether they actually went to MVA and attempted to register to vote?
That is the final word as it relates to the official documents that the board has to rely upon to act on that, on whether the person is registered or not.
We don't have the ability to query the motor vehicle registration to look further.
I don't believe so, no.
Not at this time.
Okay.
Is there a motion as to number 1?
I move, we deny.
Well, the motion would be to sustain the staff recommendation?
Yes.
Right.
Is there a
Yeah, I
second?
move.
I second.
Jackie seconds. All those, any
Can I just
Yeah.
be clear? We have exhausted all the means that we always undertake to review a voter's status regarding registration.
Yeah.
And it appears nowhere throughout
Not at this time.
the system.
All right, but in the past, we haven't had the major, I mean, we've had some issues with the NBA, but we haven't had the kind of situation that we had with this election. For this election, there were thousands of voters statewide. We got a list of, I gather, the ones that the NBA believed were in Montgomery County from that list.
We were given a statewide list
Okay.
that we sorted by county, and it was,
People who voted. The list didn't include just people who did vote. There was thousands of people on the list who didn't get transmitted, who didn't take part in the election. They wasn't cross-referenced that way. So we did the cross-referencing by name and date of birth.
Okay. But
Is it all 80,000? Did we receive all 80,000?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Plus, yeah.
But if there were people who were not transmitted, who somehow missed the list, as we know the MVA has made mistakes in the past, not just in this election, we have not done anything to check that because we're going by the list, which is what the state board told us to do.
But the state board has told us there's no additional supplemental list of other individuals. That's the information they provided us.
And our method of communicating with the MVA is through the state board, I gather.
yes.
I have 2 questions about this. For Cartland, there's a check mark MVA verified. What does that mean?
Means his driver's license was confirmed.
So in other words, Alan, when someone votes, when the person shows up at the polls and has to vote a provisional ballot, part of that application has a person's driver's license is included. So that person put down their driver's license, and when their provisional ballot was processed, the driver's license was verified via MVA.
And can I assume that for this voter and others that the provisional ballot application indicated as of the time the voter tried to vote, they were not registered to vote?
Correct. And then the provisional ballot application serves as the mechanism by which they become a registered voter for the general election.
And it triggers the additional research.
Correct.
Any further discussion? So there's a motion and second on the Cartland matter, and the vote is to sustain the staff's recommendation that there was no registration. It's not to be counted, correct?
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay.
The next one is challenge number 2. This was an individual who voter was previously registered, but their registration was canceled in 2017 after we received notice that they had moved to a different state. They had not re-registered in the state of Maryland, and again, they're not on the NBA list either.
Is this the Chapa matter?
Chapman.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Did the envelope provide any additional information? Do we know if they in fact did move to another state?
What is blocked out for purposes of confidentiality was the list that was attached to the record. From this particular case, it was D.C., and they provided a list of voters who registered, and the last address they provided for their previous registration, which was this voter's address in Maryland. So apparently the voter moved to D.C. and told D.C. when they registered to notify Maryland that they no longer were registered because they were registering in D.C.
and then came back to us at the same address?
Yeah, it happens.
But we don't check with DC to see if in fact they're registered there?
That's what DC's transmitted to us.
They are registered to vote
Oh.
in the District
We
of
do that to other
Columbia.
states as well. If a voter indicates their last registration
I see.
in Florida when they register here, and they tell us that. we
So because they
transmit that to
registered in DC, we got the notification.
Florida. And they volunteered the information that they were previously registered.
And when it says source of change correction, what does that mean?
Well, the source of registration was the provisional, and correction means that staff went back to the record to make a correction on it. That's an administrative thing.
The correction being that they were taken off and now they've been put back on.
No, usually what happens is when you cancel a voter, their registration date for the county and state remains the date that they were originally registered. When you re-register the voter, you change those two dates to the date that they were re-registered to. And sometimes staff misses one or the other because they're under those little tabs. So probably the correction was going back and making sure that that was correctly noted.
Anything else? Okay, is there a motion to sustain the staff
I move
that
that same day.
that the chapel vote not be counted? Second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's not counted.
Third one,
This fella?
Ms. Fel. I'm not sure how you say it.
What's feller?
Leslie?
No.
Leslie.
Yeah.
Yes, Leslie
Milowski.
Milowski.
Oh,
yes.
oh, that's different. I got a different
You're a
one.
different person.
Okay,
The back of
Oh, I got it. This is the
Malofsky?
Malofsky.
Malofsky.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Malofsky.
Sorry.
This is another one who's not registered, was registered to vote, but the registration was canceled in 2012 after notice was received that they had moved to another state.
So they weren't
Same
registered.
scenario.
Yeah, they were registered here, they moved to another state, we get notification that they are registered in a different state and they become canceled.
Same as the other one.
Any discussion on this? Is motion to sustain the staff recommendation and not count the Malofsky vote?
I move.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed?
Third is Feller. This is simply a not registered to vote.
Third, is this the fourth
What's the
one?
name?
No, fourth, excuse me,
yeah.
fourth.
Okay.
Number one. Fourth is Feller, registration code number 1, not registered
At all?
at all.
Does that mean this person lived somewhere else?
Going back.
If they were registered in another
Really?
location, would we know? Because given their age, that makes it less likely that they would have never been registered to vote. Not impossible, but
No. I don't know. They may very well have been registered somewhere else and moved to Maryland.
Well, we don't have her at all.
And there's no history of this person at all voting in Maryland or
correct.
Montgomery.
No evidence of a change in the name.
Is there a motion to sustain the staff recommendation and not count the Feller vote?
Move.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed?
Okay, number 5. This should be simple. There's no action needed on this. Farkas was accepted. You'll see at the very bottom, that was a provisional ballot that was accepted in full.
Oh, accepted.
you're saying that we already accepted
It
it?
was already accepted.
Oh,
Okay.
6, Carter, rejection code number 3, voted wrong party ballot. No party change or other registration update had been received since this voter since 2012. Again, they were not on the NBA list indicating a change in party affiliation.
So the party that's on there is the party that they had previously?
Correct. They have since 2012.
So they voted the wrong party.
yes.
Okay.
It's clear.
Any discussion? Well, do I have a motion to sustain the staff recommendation and not count the Carter vote?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No one opposed?
Next one is moving on to the poll challenges. And the first one is to voter ID number 501757840. You turn to the second page. That was a provisional ballot that was accepted in full. So no board actions are required on it. The board's already acted on it.
So number one was,
Already accepted.
okay.
Voter ID.
And so why is it here as a challenge?
Because on the night that you all were finishing your canvass, it was a challenge form was submitted as to that voter.
In case it was not counted?
Correct.
So if they went on the online system today, it would reflect that it was counted?
Correct.
Okay.
The second is voter ID number 50175. I can't read the person's handwriting. Foley. This person was not registered to vote, and their provisional application is incomplete in the fact that they didn't answer a question. So they're not registered to vote. What do we send? Do we send a letter out basically saying your provisional ballot is incomplete, you need to provide information?
Right. We give them the information that's required to complete the registration.
What did they not provide?
They didn't answer question number 1, which is, are you 16 years of age or older, and are you a U.S. citizen, yes or no?
And neither was answered? Okay.
So how do we have an age for them?
They probably provided their date of birth. It's really was the issue is the second part of question 1. If they provide their date of birth.
Whether they were a citizen or not.
Correct. But they often just miss both those questions.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of sustaining
I move. First,
staff?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's non-vote.
Poll challenge 3. This is Gary Manning Ford, which I'm going to have Jessica explain. The recommendation is that this person was canceled in error, and the ballot should be accepted.
Should be.
Should be accepted, yes.
it was accepted, or we should move to accept now.
No, the ballot was rejected, but upon the challenge of this voter and further research, and if you go to the packet for this group, if you go to the second to the last page, you can actually see the image of this voter. And we received a list from another state of voters who had registered in that state, and the wrong person, the wrong Gary Ford, was canceled. So this voter should not have been canceled, and therefore it's staff's recommendation that this ballot be counted in full.
I'm sorry, where is the image you're talking
So
about?
if you take the whole
Or
group
Dan.
The
for this,
whole group for all?
Well, at the end.
for all 3, and you go to
Okay.
the second to the last page.
Has this gone through the scanner yet or not yet?
Not yet. We have
Oh, okay.
I move we accept
Right.
this voter.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting this vote, say aye. Aye. No one opposed? This is poll challenge number 4, right, Kevin?
Board generated a lot of paperwork. Okay.
Challenge 3 was all about that one voter, because it seems like,
Yes.
at least in my packet, I have a declaration from
Yeah.
someone else.
Oh,
If
you
you
do?
keep going, you'll get the number 1 and 2,
So they're clipped together.
because they were all submitted together as one challenge.
So what happened to this one?
Next is Michael Shawnee.
Right. All right.
And this person is not,
Wait,
was
wait,
not
hold-
registered.
Michael,
I don't have
Hold
that
on a
name.
second, please.
It's all challenge 3.
Paul Champ. Oh. I thought.
So it's the back. So it's the back of Paul Challenge.
Yeah.
At the end of Paul Challenge 3,
Ah.
but it looks like we have a bunch of different voters under Paul Challenge 3.
What's the name?
Gary Manning, 4,
What's the
yeah.
Michael Kashani is one of the voters in Paul Challenge.
Correct, number one.
Okay.
Lisa, where is he?
Not
The
active.
fortune.
Gary
Down the street?
Ford was the one we dealt with, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
The next
So
one?
Michael Costani is, yes.
Where-
I see it
Where,
here.
let me see.
It
What
looks,
about
it's
him?
toward the back of your stuff, and
What
it's
about
on the
this
back
Michael
page.
Kashani? No registered?
Yeah, yeah. Keep going, one more.
You
There.
have to move?
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Do we have to
Kashani.
move on this one? Yeah.
This is Kashani.
Kashani, yes.
Kashani.
So that's registered.
So this is not an age issue, it's,
This is not, they were not registered to vote.
Well, this is an MVA issue because he's claiming that he registered to vote when he was 17 years old at MVA on Clopper Road on or before January 31 of 2017, and we don't have record, I gather, that he did that.
That's correct. Not on any MBA list.
Even back then? No?
Well, would the MVA list that we got this time include back then?
it,
Dates went back to that range.
Where did the dates
where, yeah, how
start?
far back did they go?
Because we've been having MVA problems for a long time.
4 years that we know of.
Yeah,
When did the president-
probably longer than that.
I have to, I'm not going to
Those.
guess.
I know the family.
It's not registered at all on?
I'm very disturbed by this one.
Well, I am too, because this is I encountered a voter election day who told me how he had 2 sons go to MVA, and they were registering for their permits, etc., and they fell in the right age group and registered to vote, and they never got anything indicating they were registered, and when they went to vote, they weren't there.
Here it says Kashani pre-registered to vote at MBA. What does that mean?
That means that he registered before he was.
18?
He registered at a time period where he wasn't eligible to vote in that election, which you can do in Maryland at age 16 and 17. You have to be 18 by the next election in order to vote in the primary. So in other words, someone who wanted to vote in this primary has to turn 18 by November of 2018. But his birthday...
Was he pre-registered? We don't
His
know.
birthday is November 11,
There was
82.
no record.
No, his birthday...
November 11, 1982.
No.
There must be. Is
No,
there a
his birthday- His
record
birthday's
of?
May 11th, 2000.
That's he said here.
That's when
Is there a record of his activity at MVA? In other words, did he
Is he telling the
do
truth about
something
that?
else
Yeah.
in this time frame that indicated he was at MVA? And we know the process MVA has. Presumably, you get asked about voting, etc.
We also know the process they have.
I mean, is that something we're able to do with MVA to get a little more research on these people?
it's got that little box that Alan talked. The MBA verified box was checked.
It's verified because we just entered the data as we were processing the provisional ballot.
Do we have his issue date of his license? Because I know that information we sometimes collect from voters.
If they go and use the online system, that's a verification the state requires, but it's not transmitted to us.
So we wouldn't know if it matched with this.
Jim,
Yes, Jackie.
when they register at MVA, is there any record of who registers them, the persons working there? Do they keep any kind of record of what booth the people have been in when they've registered, or any way at all of finding out who the actual worker was that registered them?
Jackie, this is Kevin. All that's handled at the state level, and the information that we get is from MBA to the State Board of Elections, and then is uploaded to MD voters. So we don't have access to that information.
Well, I just wondered if we know whether or not that happens. That if there's just 1 or 2 people who are having a difficult time understanding the system, or if it's system-wide.
Well, I certainly understand and appreciate that the board has had many concerns about MBA and the way they've handled things, but the staff is, needs to rely upon the documents that they have to go ahead and do the research. And the research reflects that this individual was not registered to vote.
Well, what the research is we received a list from MVA and this person is not on it. I mean, it's not like for example, looking back and seeing whether they did a transaction at MVA is not something that we've done.
Correct.
And I guess the question is how we feel about that.
He's not registered.
Yeah.
This is something we could ask the NVA or the state to ask NVA to do.
Well,
So there's some record of who's doing what transaction there. That's for later. Not if
But
we
Kevin,
got down to it.
this voter, there's no evidence we have at all that he's ever registered at anything, right?
Correct. And
We have requested access to MVA information before and been told that we would not have access to that information.
we requested it how?
Oh, gosh, I'm
Or
remembering
of
back a
whom?
couple elections ago.
Through the state
Well,
board,
he's not
to the state board
He's
staff,
not registered.
the persons that interact with MVA.
We don't know,
Yeah, but-
unless they,
But we gotta
But at
decide.
this time, the staff does not have any information that this specific voter is registered to vote.
Well,
Is there a well, we got a vote.
Hold on.
well,
Yeah, let him say what's it. Go ahead.
I'll just say that we've had a lot of experience with MVA's lists. We've had a lot of experience with MVA's mistakes. We had lifelong Republicans who were made Democrats. We had lifelong Democrats who were made Republicans without their knowledge. We have the pre-qualification process for same-day registration that we know has a number of inaccuracies. My 80-something-year-old mother who registered to vote in Montgomery County in 1962 and MVA didn't have her listed at all. I can go on and on and on. And I realize that we may not have the basis now to accept this vote, but it seems to me that we should be pressuring the state to ask more questions because we have lots of reasons to be questioning. And actually, I left out the fact that MVA thinks that Jackie is not a U.S. citizen, and et cetera. I mean, we've had a lot of instances where we've had issues, not limited to this election. Going back several elections. I am certainly not confident that this person did not do what they said they did. And I gather that in order to sign the provisional ballot, they had to swear that they did. And I'm just very disturbed by the idea that because they weren't on an MVA-produced list, when we know that MVA-produced lists have had mistakes in the past, is the only avenue that we have.
All right, thank you, but we don't have...
No, I agree with David completely. MVA screwed up, but we don't have any record that he's
right
a registered
now,
voter.
right.
And this voter has the ability to appeal to the state board the rejection of the provisional ballot if they wish to go through that process, which would be heard by the state board designee. All I'm saying is that based upon the information that this board has access to, there is no record that this individual is a registered voter.
So we gotta vote. All right,
when is the state board taking action on, I guess, first of all, the whole MVA issue, as well as any challenges that are raised to them? Do they have to deal with the challenges before they certify the election?
No, I don't believe they do. I'd have to get the specific section, but I don't believe that they hear the appeals that quickly.
So if they hear this appeal and they grant it, or this appeal and a number of others like it, and it affects the results, what happens? I mean,
They have to do an amended certification.
Okay.
Okay, well,
That the state does, or we do?
The state does.
they certify.
So if there
All
are
right, so-
changes after they have certified, they have to do an amended certification.
Is there a motion to sustain the staff and not count this vote? Is there a motion?
I move.
Second? Is there a second, Jackie?
Yes, I'll second it.
Okay.
But I would like us to keep a list of the people and maybe encourage some challenges
Okay.
if that's thing we could do.
If it was legal, I would fund the challenge.
If, okay, all those in favor of sustaining that this is a no vote, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jackie, did you vote?
Yes, aye. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All those opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, that's a no vote, 3-2. Okay?
3-2.
That the vote does not count.
It was Nahid, Jim,
And Jackie.
and David, and Mary Ann said.
It's a no vote by a 3-2 vote of the
Well, it's
board.
got to be unanimous to reject
Yes,
it.
Oh, it does?
yeah.
It has to be unanimously rejected.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I guess it's not rejected.
He's not registered. I mean, we have to go by the law. He's not a registered voter. How can we accept a vote of someone who's not registered? MVA screwed up. Shame on them. But, we got to go with the law. I mean, he's not a registered voter.
Well, the state told us that for people who said that they were changing their party affiliation at MVA, that we would accept that they did.
But, David, he's not a registered voter. We can't make that up.
We don't know.
We
It's
don't-
why
we don't
we're
know.
troubled by it.
I'm troubled, too, but the State Board of Elections, MVA, everybody tells us there's no record of him as a registered
No,
voter.
the MVA has not. The MVA has given us a list. We have not queried the MVA and said what happened with this voter.
But again, the voter has the right to appeal that to the state board, and the state board would be addressing whether there was an MVA issue or not.
No.
Unless they would simply rely on the list, as we're being advised to do here.
Can you move forward with abstentions on this situation?
Yes.
Then I'll abstain for the moment.
I agree with David and Mary Ann, but we got to do.
I agree with you, Jim.
Can we send the voter a notification of what's happened?
Would you do that? I agree with you, David. It's just
I will abstain, but I will say that we've been dealing with this for a very long time, and it seems that no matter what happens, it keeps coming back in different permutations.
And I agree with you.
And I don't know what it takes. Apparently, a state legislative hearing was not sufficient, I intend to raise the flag as much as I can, and thank you for voting with me, Mary Ann. And I just feel like, without regard to who's affected by this, because we don't know who's affected by this, there may be many people affected by it. I would also add that we had a number of situations in the canvass that we did where people were not listed in the poll books and then were found to be registered. And I am even more troubled by those. And I'm hoping that we can find a way to, there were a lot of votes that we were not able, a lot of votes that we were able to accept because of the research showed that they were registered, but they weren't in the poll book. But there were also, there are a lot of record-keeping challenges that we really should be working hard to fix.
Did he say he's registered?
I've been shown a picture of his driver's license, the provisional driver's license that was issued on January 31 of 2017.
Exactly what he said.
So, Jessica's going to send something to the state board, see whether they can provide any additional information. The fact that he went to the MVA and he has a provisional driver's license, though, of course, doesn't answer the question as to whether he...
Well, I think they need to pull up his whole record from MVA when he did that registration and see exactly what he did with the election.
I don't disagree with anything that anyone has said.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
without having any documentation to support that he's a registered voter, my suggestion is that the board move forward with the staff's recommendation, with the voter having the ability to go ahead and appeal to the state board on that issue, because the state board should be in a position to go ahead do the necessary research with MBA.
Right, but
Jessica's going to go ahead and reach out to
Well,
the
yes, they
state
have,
board.
but we have as David was alluding to, and Jackie and I were at the state board meeting 4 years ago when we raised this issue loud and clear and asking for an audit and detailing all of the problems that we had with MVA in that election. And the handling of the state board of that issue was absolutely outrageous. And nothing has transpired, and here we are 4 years later dealing with very similar, maybe even worse issues.
When the voter goes to the state board, are we in a position to write on their behalf? Obviously, we're not in a position to make any factual representations because we don't know the facts, but we can also indicate that it's been a concern of ours for some time and that we hope that they will inquire further of the MVA and not simply rely on the information they were given.
I see no reason why it's been years since I've had an administrative hearing on one of these issues, but they are supposed to hold an administrative hearing where a person hears the evidence and renders a decision. So yeah, I would think you would be able to submit something. I don't disagree with anything what anyone said. 4 years ago, I remember very clearly the board asking for a legislative audit of MVA, and the decision was made that they didn't think an audit was necessary because MVA and the state board could work it out, and a full audit wasn't necessary. And you know,
look what happened.
What more can you say? I mean, here we are.
I agree. So, David.
Well, Jim, may I suggest that this is an important issue to discuss in full what we'd like to do about it at perhaps a later time and go on with the count right now?
Not much later.
No, I agree.
I agree, but
I agree.
You know.
All right, so David, Mary, did you change your votes to abstain?
Yes. I changed mine to abstain.
Okay, so then it's 3 votes not to count and the rest abstain. So that's a no count.
Okay. The second individual.
I think Alan voted.
Which one is the challenge for?
He abstained.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kevin, are
He
you
abstained.
for? For challenge for? Which one of which?
Matthew.
What are we up to? Who we doing?
How do you say his last name? It's Noenicks.
No.
Oh, Matthew, you got it? It's on the other side of.
Next page.
It's on the back side of Ford.
Back to the 4. I don't
Matthew,
Yeah,
yes,
you
okay.
can pronounce it.
Number 2.
1 or 3 in
Okay, tell us about this one.
Same issue, not registered to vote.
Except in his case, it's in 2015, which puts him right around the time frame of the issues that we had in the past. Does anyone know when the MVA changed their voter registration process to require the voters to push the button on the screen?
I feel like it was the beginning of
2015.
If it was 2015,
It was
it
the
was
beginning of 2015.
it was the beginning.
Was it
Allison
during
and
your
I,
tenure?
Allison and I were going over to the state board and meeting with MVA and SBE with.
Those emails are archived. I can go find them, but I don't remember exactly what it was.
It was like to begin. They changed the system at the beginning, I believe, of 2015, right after the 2014 election, because we spent our summer driving to Annapolis.
Can we assume that this person is not listed as having voted in 2016?
no prior history of registration.
Wow.
No registration.
So they didn't try to vote in 2016.
Any discussion?
But
I'll call them out.
well, actually, you know what? The reason why they didn't try to vote in 2016 is they weren't old enough.
Right.
Date of birth, June 10th, 1999.
There's no record here, no registration. Is there a motion to not count this vote?
I move.
Second? Jackie? You guys are abstaining? Jackie?
Yeah, same issue.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to Jackie?
Jackie, you there?
Hello?
One of you guys can second it.
I'm not seconding it.
No, because I'm not voting for it. Same issue.
In fact, it's worse because it's older. You know,
You can't do
I just
anything
don't-
about it.
we don't even know when the list started.
I know.
Right? We don't even have a date for how far back the list goes. We don't know if the list covers this person or not.
I know. There's no question about that. It's just that we don't have any evidence that it's a registered voter.
Correct.
Jackie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Jackie, we need a second on this request.
All right, I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of not counting this vote say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
abstain.
Okay, that's...
To be handled the same way with a
Right.
letter
Yes.
to the voter
Right.
and this date.
And we're, let me just say, I can speak for myself, but I'm guessing that I'm speaking for Mary Ann and Alan as well. We're abstaining in order to allow this appeal to proceed, because it appears that even if we were to count this vote, it's not going to do anything to fix the problem. We need the state to see what a problem this is and how widespread this is.
No, I agree.
So,
And we all agree, but... So this is a no vote, 3 no vote. The rest abstain.
The third is, turn of the next page, is Gary Ford. You all have already voted on this individual.
Okay.
Okay, so then the fourth is Wolf,
Is this the last one?
the dispatch, yes.
Wolf.
What's the name?
Wolf.
Jeremy Wolf.
Yes. The last page.
This individual was previously registered, was canceled in 2015 after notice was received that he moved to another state, and he's also not on the MBA list.
Moved out.
They moved out of state, did you say, Kevin?
Yes, he did.
Did any of these come through on Eric?
There was a
Is that
notice
how we
from
got- Is
another
that how we
state.
handled them?
It was a notice from another state that the individual was registered in the other state and to cancel their registration in Maryland.
And you see
All
that
right. My question is, are any of these Eric cancellations? Are we sure Eric is doing it correctly?
We do not cancel as a result of the ERIC. We use the ERIC as a trigger to start the confirmation process.
Okay. Thank you.
you see this individual has provided a statement that he moved to the District of Columbia in 2015, and that he went to MBA on April 7 of 2017. Agent told him that his previous registration was never canceled. I'm not sure how that's possible. And said that he could, and said I could update his information to reflect his new address.
So a question about that. I gathered that the way the system is supposed to work is if he was canceled from our voter rolls, that should show up at the MVA.
I am not privy to what information the MBA has at their disposal. We do not have any of their information. I do not know what information.
So if we cancel someone's registration because they moved to DC, DC tells us they're with us now, I gathered at that point we cancel them. MVA may or may not get that information. We don't know whether they do or they don't. Then this person goes to MVA and is told that they haven't been canceled, which might just mean that MVA doesn't have notification that we canceled them. MVA tells them all they have to do is update, which is obviously not correct because they've been canceled. I mean, this sounds like this person was really unlucky with government officials multiple times.
There's a reliance issue here.
I mean,
This is different from before.
right. On this one, he's basically saying that he saw on the screen that he was being registered as a Democrat, and for whatever reason, it wasn't transmitted. This is on April 7th of 2017. Do we know yet what the boundaries of the list are?
I mean, of what they provided us.
When was the date, the earliest date that MVA said they were including for the... I mean, if these folks aren't on the list, then it's more than 90,000 or 80,000, whatever it ended up being.
The press release that the State Board issued on June 23rd says that this is the press release that said 18,700 individuals were impacted. That one said April 22nd, 2017 through June 5th, 2018.
Right, well, this person is April 7th. So we basically have...
I'm looking to see if subsequent press releases gave dates.
Right. That's a pretty narrow window, April 22nd.
So what's So what's the latest
Well, of the previous year.
notation with this voter?
They're still not, they're registered now that they've
They've been
completed their
re-registered.
No,
provisional
but-
application.
But they were not.
They were not registered on the
list.
day of election, June 26th.
Right.
There was no date given with the broader list.
So we don't, also no reason to believe it was earlier. I mean, this one is he's explicitly saying that he saw it with his own eyes.
But on primary day, he wasn't registered here.
Right.
That's correct.
Right, because apparently, I mean, we're not able to know whether...
We don't know.
Well, we cancel voters and MVA doesn't get that information, so people go to MVA. I mean, people go to MVA and they're told they're on the registry when they're not. I mean, that sounds like it's just as bad as being told you're not on when you are, maybe worse. I mean, they're basically being told nothing to worry about, you're here. And as a result, in this case, all he did was change his address, which is not sufficient.
Because he was moving back in the state. But you're saying he was already on the list from...
Well, that's what he says. We
That's what
don't.
he says.
I mean, we're not able to query MVA.
I don't know that there's a continual back and forth with MVA and Board of Elections. One thing when they're registering and you're putting someone on the list, I don't know that it works the reverse.
You're saying that, well, but if that's the case, then it's a major flaw.
Yeah, we just don't know, man. We don't know.
To
Right.
put it mildly, it's a major flaw.
Yes, thank you, Jackie.
Well, yeah, but think about it. Have we ever...
I mean, well, it adds a huge number of people who are potentially affected.
say, huge.
Yes.
No,
as,
yeah.
you know, but in this case, I mean, he's basically saying he registered to vote, he left, he came back, he went to MVA.
It could be D.C. never told Maryland that he moved to D.C. and registered there.
Well, no, apparently if he was canceled, we had to have a reason for canceling. I assume that, I mean, we don't cancel that many people. In order for us to cancel, D.C. would have had to have informed us that that he was registered in D.C. Is that how that works?
Correct. And they did in 2015.
We just don't know.
And he was canceled.
Right, but on...
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it just seems very narrow for us sitting here. Yes, we're the Montgomery County Board of Elections, and we do not know everything that the MVA knows. It just seems, though, that...
Nor do they know what we know.
Exactly.
If we cancel them.
Yeah, that's what
That's right.
what
Thank
this
you, Jackie.
looks like.
That's a very good point. I mean, and that just leads to the possibility of many more problems.
Well, I think for purposes of moving on, we probably should put this in the category of the last two that needs to inform the voter, continue their appeal if they wish to the state, and that we need to inform the state that this is another whole area that needs
I'll take a motion. Yeah.
Can you say
further
that
research.
is
But when
more
we
research?
I don't know who's Kevin is often asked to write these letters, but when this letter is written, this one has a category, all to itself. This is not just that the voter says that they did it and we don't have record that they did. This is the voter being told something that is in conflict with what we know from our records as far as voting goes. Being told by MVA about voting something that's in conflict with our records, and then seen on the screen that a certain thing is going to happen, and then it doesn't happen.
I agree with Mary Ann. Let's do it the same.
Just to note, I've gone back and looked at our minutes from 2015, and according to our minutes from January through March, the software revisions that the Motor Vehicle Administration put into effect to put the customer responsible for the selections on the screen were in January 2015.
Okay.
So, 2015.
We should take a motion. I'm going to take a motion. Is there a motion to not count this vote?
Basically,
I move not to count the vote.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of not counting the vote say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those in favor? Abstains?
Abstain.
I abstain very reluctantly.
David, we're all on the same page here, but we have to, it's not registered. I mean, we're all...
I wasn't suggesting that others weren't reluctant. I was just expressing
No,
myself.
So that's a no vote, Kevin. No, we agree.
Call challenge number 4 is the next one. Involving Rothschild.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah?
I need to find call challenge number 4.
It's a separate... There it is.
Yeah.
It's on the yellow sheet.
Okay.
This is the same issue, not registered to vote. Voter not previously registered to vote and was on the MDA list. And just to make it clear for the record, after you all finish this, as you've requested, Jessica's going to speak to someone at the state board to see what, if any, additional information they have from MDA regarding any one of these votes.
But we want a letter as well.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
It goes a little further than that, Kevin,
What can they
because
get?
we are asking them to get it if they don't have it.
Right.
To, query MVA for additional information.
I would say even if they're within the time frame that MVA sent, because we know from the past that MVA has been both over and under inclusive at various times.
Because this is the Rothschild vote?
Yes.
Is there a motion to not accept this vote?
I move.
Second?
Second.
Is there a statement from this voter? Like the other ones
Let me
have?
read this.
It's another young person.
No statesman. No statesman
Yeah, here
from
it
this
is.
guy.
Where is it?
Yeah.
No, there's no statesman.
He did not submit a statement, but he did indicate he would be willing to submit a statement.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor. All those in favor of not counting this vote say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstain?
Abstain.
Same, Kevin. No vote.
Okay.
No vote. 3, no vote. The rest abstain.
Blair challenge number 1.
So we're done with the poll challenges?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
These fall under the category of applicant not registered to vote. And the first one is McConney, and the recommendation is to accept it. And it was accepted it was already accepted in full. So no actions needed on that one.
That's already been scanned?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2 is Russell. This person is registered to vote in Montgomery County but voted a provisional ballot in Prince George's County.
Voted provisional in Prince George's this year?
So what does that mean?
We don't have the ballot in Prince George's does.
They can't vote for county executives in Montgomery County.
That's correct.
They can vote for state officers.
So their vote for governor and U.S. Senate and Congress counts.
If that's what PG decided to do. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
How can you tell from this screen that that's what happened?
So on the screenshot, on the far right column, where it says precinct code,
Yeah.
the LBE starts with 17,
Right.
which is PG. We're 16. And we don't physically possess the ballot.
I see.
So we don't take any action. We don't have the ballot, right?
You don't have a ballot to count.
But we have
That
a
is
challenge that we have to act upon because
Yeah.
It
Right.
is our voter.
The
but
staff,
it's-
the staff's recommendation is to reject
reject the
reject the
challenge.
Reject the challenge.
I
Is there a
move.
motion?
I move.
Is there a second?
A second.
All those in favor of rejecting the challenge say aye. Aye. Anyone
Aye.
opposed? That's unanimous rejection.
3 is
Chobadi.
Chabadi,
Chobadi.
not registered voter, previously registered but was canceled in 2014 after a notice was received that they had moved to another state.
Do we have any indication of MVA involvement?
I believe this one was called into question, as you'll see the correction listed as the source of change, that this one wasn't, the date wasn't modified, so when they reviewed the list, it appeared that the person had been registered for several years.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you just said.
Under source of change, you had asked earlier about the
Right.
term correction.
Right.
And I said often staff will forget to change the date to the current date. So I believe that was the case with several on this list. They weren't voter challenges, but the campaign challenge, because the voter's registration date was the old date, not the current, when they re-registered.
So, how does that relate to whether they were registered to vote? If they were previously registered but they were canceled, was the registration date before?
Wasn't changed properly when the provisional was processed.
What Jessica's saying is that's what the basis, that's why some of the campaigns challenged these particular individuals, because when they looked at it at the time, it had not been updated to show the registration date as July 1, 2018.
Because it looked like they were registered from before their cancellation?
Correct.
Correct.
So did the cancellations not show up?
No, but when we register them now, it says July 1, 2018, but this person was previously registered. And so it was most likely the state date, which is under the miscellaneous info tab, probably said they were registered in the state since, 2005. So it looked like the person had been a long-standing registrant. When in fact it was...
So they didn't move this out of the state, they moved out of the county?
No, but they moved out of the state. It was a staff error when they processed the change. They were supposed to change both dates to July 1.
They were still canceled because they registered to vote in another state. And we did not receive a registration until they completed the provisional application.
But we made a mistake and didn't change the state registration date. Because once you're canceled, your registration date is what your original registration date was. When we re-register you, we have to update both of those dates.
So on primary day, they were registered in another state?
We're not registered in
They were not registered in Maryland. I have no idea what they were in another state.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Is there a motion to not count this?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of not counting this, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's unanimous, no vote.
Number 4 is Maine. Not register voter submitted a voter registration application prior to the close of the registration period. The application was incomplete. The letter was sent explaining that the application was incomplete, but no additional information was provided.
What was missing?
They didn't mark the citizenship question.
So if you look,
I see it circled. Okay.
So they didn't say if they were a citizen or not.
Right.
And they got a letter.
And they had till Canvas to provide that.
see that down further where it says incomplete application letter, June 5.
Yeah.
And they never responded.
They would have had till the start of the provisional Canvas to submit that.
Is there a motion not to count?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed? That's no vote.
Okay, number 5, Williams.
Okay.
This is the exact same issue, incomplete voter registration.
Well, in this case, they didn't answer their age either.
They didn't answer the citizenship? No.
No, number 2.
Yeah, they didn't answer their age or whether they were a citizen, correct? We sent them a letter.
Well, their age
Nothing,
is
right?
on here.
No, but-
74.
Yeah,
They
but
just didn't
on
answer the question number 1.
But the main thing is the citizenship.
That's it.
And question number 1.
Okay, is there a motion not to count this?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of not counting? Aye.
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 No one opposed? No vote? It's a no vote.
Number 6,
Junio?
Junio, a not registered voter, was previously registered but was canceled in 2013.
Was it, they were registered out of state, it says here on the...
Yes.
That's Virginia. It's like
Yeah, they actually literally will cut the strip off the bottom of the registration and send it to us.
I see.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Is there a motion not to count?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 No one opposed? That's a no vote, Kevin.
Number 7 is LeBron. This photo provided the last 4 of their social, but his record could not be verified through the database. Marianne knows from years of going through, and Naheed going through the rejects, that the staff continues to try and verify driver's license numbers, social security numbers, to go ahead and verify the voter. This individual didn't verify, couldn't get it verified through the Social Security database.
The language here says social security number or driver's license did not verify. Does that mean that they provided both, and did we attempt to verify both?
No, we had the last 4 of the social security number, and on the face of the provisional application, the voter wrote online under the MVA number and under the social security number. So they did not, if they would have provided additional information on the provisional application, we could have used that to attempt to verify them again.
I see.
But they didn't provide it furnish in that case.
Is there a motion not to count?
I move.
Second?
Second.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No one opposed, Kevin.
I did get a response from the state. They're saying that the MVA list that was provided to all of the counties goes back to April 22nd of 2017.
Okay, number 8, and I'm going to butcher the name.
Hosseini.
Hosseini.
Not registered. Voter submitted a voter registration application prior to the close of registration, but it was incomplete. Same issue.
Yeah, he didn't declare if he was a citizen.
Correct.
Is there a motion not to count?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one opposed?
Number 9 is Reed. Not registered. Voter was previously registered but was canceled in 2007 after receiving notification they had moved to another state.
So on primary day, he was registered in a different state?
Correct. Canceled back in 2007.
Well, we don't know if they're registered in a different state now.
Correct.
We know in 2007 that's why they were canceled.
Right. Okay. Is there a motion not to count?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No one opposed?
Okay. Blair challenge number 2. Mr. Sundberg. This was the one who changed from being
Wait, which one is
a
it?
Democrat to an unaffiliated. So when the person signed up to be an election judge, they are given the opportunity to change their party affiliation. And they changed their party affiliation to unaffiliated. So they went from being a Democrat to unaffiliated.
So they did this while they were at our training?
When they applied the application they filled out to be an election judge, they declared their party unaffiliated.
And they voted provisional?
They attempted to vote a Democratic ballot. They're a member of the Democratic Party. When they came for election judge training, they updated in, it looks like January 9, 2016, to be an unaffiliated voter. Became an unaffiliated voter as of that time.
Has anybody contacted Mr. Sundberg or Mr. Svoboda? Did you contact Mr. Sundberg? Do we know does he deny having changed his party affiliation?
We have his form and his signature on the form.
I mean, he voted Democratic ballot, but he was unaffiliated?
Correct.
Does his vote count for the Board of Education?
No.
Not even that he would? No?
No, we never do.
It says
Okay.
he said he believes he's registered as a Democrat, but if you turn to the very last page of the documentation, under the staff recommendation, you can see where it says unaffiliated as of January 9, 2016.
Is there a motion not to count?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one opposed.
Okay, Blair Challenge 3.
Kashani.
We've already done Mr. Kashani. This is two challenges were filed as to Mr. Kashani.
So Kashani we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same result.
Blair Challenge 4?
So, Blair Challenge 4, which is the voted the wrong party ballot.
Well,
Number 1 is bowling. Ballot was rejected in error. A voter voted in the wrong precinct but did vote the right party ballot. So
What's
it
the
should be
name?
an accepting part.
What's the name?
Sierra
So that should be an acceptance vote.
So accepted part means what?
That some of the ballot will need to duplicate this ballot, and the races that she was eligible to vote for will be counted.
And which, is this Cecilia?
Bowling, yes.
No, it's one that's
Sierra?
Oh.
We don't have the
Sierra Bowling.
Cecilia.
Oh,
So her vote for
okay.
county executive
I'm
would
looking
count.
up the...
I'm sorry?
Her vote for county executive would count.
There's just no image because there's no.
These are not in
In
order.
here.
No.
It's right there.
So do you need a motion on that one,
We don't have the
Kevin?
king.
No,
Yes.
because it's a.
Oh, I move.
Is there a motion to accept the bowling ballot in part?
Yes.
Move to accept.
Second?
I'm not ready. I can't find it.
Here. Here's Mary Ann.
There's no,
There's
There's no
no-
documentation?
No, no,
there's
here.
just a paragraph
Give this
type.
one to
There's
Mary
no
Ann.
screen print.
This right here?
Here, Mary Ann.
All right.
Being accepted in.
Right, it just looks like this.
I found it.
That's it.
This one?
There you go.
Okay. Wrong police.
Okay. And that's what they told, this is what the state.
That is what it said.
Okay.
He's voting the right place.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
Same voter?
Okay.
Talking about the same voter?
Okay, number 2.
Wait, no, this is
Hold on,
bowling?
we still
Bowling,
are.
yes.
All right.
Alan made a motion.
Is there a second to accept that ballot in part?
Which one is it?
Bowling.
Bowling.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 No one opposed.
Closer?
What's that? Oh, that's, okay. So the next is Caruso, and they voted the wrong party ballot.
This one.
I have a question about that. The email from Ms. Lopez says that they matched up the data that the county provided, and that the county information said that they were Democrat. And yet, we have a screenshot here that says that they are not.
No.
This is the provisional application they
That's
submitted.
that's provisional. They
Oh, that's the
asked to
provisional.
vote a Republican ballot.
But they are registered.
So they are registered as Democrat, but they asked for a Republican ballot.
And to change their party affiliation.
So they voted a Republican ballot? And they were Democrat?
That's correct.
No go.
You see, that's Jessica's put together the screenshot from the provisional ballot.
I got you. Okay. So
Basis of the rejection.
So all of them are registered Democrats, except that we may have provisionals from them that suggested that they tried to vote something else.
They did, yeah,
Yeah.
and you guys did open all of those
Okay.
to verify that the
Oh,
ballot
so-
was listed was
okay.
what they voted.
So is there a motion
I
to,
move.
this is Lopez?
Yes.
No.
No,
No.
Caruso.
Caruso, not to count the Caruso ballot?
I move.
Motion?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one
Aye.
opposed?
Same issue with number 3, Ismail.
Yeltsin.
Is that Ismail?
Yeltsin.
And we don't have the portion of this one where it says, pick the ballot you want.
I'm sorry I crossed it. It was not filled out.
Uh,
But
Pick
it
the ballot.
did indicate that it was non, and it was rejected after being checked in Canvas.
Yeltsin.
Okay.
They voted the wrong?
They were unaffiliated?
They want to be. They were registered as a Democrat,
Oh,
What ballot did they vote?
unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated.
Okay.
In the bottom.
Okay. There's a motion
I
to
move.
not count?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one opposed?
Number 4, Ju.
Good. Good.
Gu.
Yes.
Gu. Same issue.
It's a registered Democrat that voted a Republican ballot?
Yes.
Is there a motion to not count?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed?
Number 5, Kang. Same issue.
Registered Democrat voted Republican? Motion to reject? Motion not to count?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one
You know,
opposed?
one of the problem I had is leisure board that was giving the voter were giving wrong ballots. Maybe that's the problem. They didn't realize this is not
Well, they asked for a
leisure
Republican.
board. We had that
Well, they
problem.
did ask for
They asked
They
for
were giving
Republican.
wrong
Huh?
ballot by the worker. Okay, go ahead.
Number 6, O'Connor, you all have already acted on. This was a
How?
provisional ballot that was accepted in part.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
7 is Powers, same issue, voted the wrong party ballot. As you see, they desired to be an unaffiliated voter.
Is a registered Democrat voted unaffiliated? Motion to not count?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. No one opposed?
Okay, 8, Rawls, same issue. Registered as a Democrat, wanted to vote a Republican Party ballot.
Did vote a Republican.
Yeah.
Motion
A
not.
provisional ballot too, which includes a Republican ballot.
Yeah.
Motion
move.
to not count?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. No one opposed?
Number 9, Smith, same issue. Desired to be an unaffiliated voter.
Democrat voted unaffiliated.
Yes, sir.
Motion not to count?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
10, no actions needed for Taylor. That was a provisional ballot, voted out of precinct, but was accepted in part.
That's already been scanned? That's already.
You've already accepted it.
Yeah.
Number 11, Tran, same problem, registered as a Democrat but desired to vote a Republican Party ballot.
Motion not to count?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. No one opposed?
Number 12, Yang, same issue, voted the wrong party ballot, registered as a Democrat but desired to vote a Republican ballot.
I move.
Motion to not count?
I
Second.
move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. No one opposed?
Okay, those are all the challenges. So the 2 ballots will need to, one will need to be duplicated, and the other will be accepted in full. You'll need to run both of them on separate sticks. Jessica, do you have the wording you want for that?
Yes.
And you want, and Janet's already got the,
Oh,
She has one stick. She has one stick. Did you bring the zero? Can't do it till I run it. Okay.
We signed the
So
one.
Jessica, can you bring in a ballot for the acceptance part? And we'll duplicate it in front of everybody, please. Okay. So what's going to happen then is we're going to run these 2 sticks, the first one and then the second one, and then we will have to reload the certification document to the state board. They're going to turn it around and then bring it back, and then later, hopefully in this meeting,
you guys will pass a motion to certify the election.
Yeah, I was just curious. Did we?
Margaret, my suggestion would be for the ballot that needs to be duplicated, that we have two staff members of different political parties duplicate the ballot.
Okay.
Because we only had one person, we went by their name, and to protect their privacy in terms of their vote, let's go ahead and not follow our normal process of weeding out
Okay.
the votes.
All right.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we have any follow-up on the audit. Is there any?
I have that here. This is a copy of a document that is on the State Board of Elections website. But what that is
We have a bottom line to start with?
Killed a lot of trees.
what this is, the title is Comparison of Votes Cast. It is a comparison of the votes cast for each candidate on the very first column that says comparison system. The comparison system is our tabulation system. That is the software that we use to tabulate the votes. This system, because this is a printout provided by Clear Ballot of their Clear Audit system. So this system is their Clear Audit system. Comparison system is the number of votes for that candidate in that contest. This system is the number of votes for that candidate using the Clear Audit system. The difference column is the column that shows how the Clear Audit software viewed that image differently than the ES&S software viewed that ballot. The differences, as you can see, in all cases are 1 or 2, in a few cases 3 votes for a candidate, and what these will come down to will be overvoted or undervoted ballots where their software detected a mark or did not detect a mark that the other software detected. In each case, the state's threshold to require us to then go back and perform additional audit steps, which would potentially include manual handling and counting of the votes on those ballots, would be 0.5%. In each case, these are 0.3% or less.
Allison, because of the interest in 2 races in particular, could you tell everybody what was the difference between our count and the audit count in the Democratic County Executive race and Democratic District 16 race? The difference between what we came up with and what the audit came up with.
Do you want me to read the number of votes for each candidate or just what the difference is?
What the difference is.
For the Democratic House of Delegates contest in Legislative District 16, the Clear Ballot, Clear Audit system detected 1 more vote for Ariana Kelly, and the Clear Audit system detected 1 more vote for Sarah Love than our tabulated results. In the County Executive contest,
Second page.
Yeah, second page.
Second page, yeah.
there we are. The Clear Audit system detected 1 more vote for Roger Berliner and 1 more vote for George Leventhal. Other than that, the votes were identical.
Identical between the audit and our count.
Correct.
For those races.
For those races.
Now,
For those candidates.
not to go too much in the weeds. So on the audit, Sarah Love got 1 more vote from the audit people than we had. What was it?
Correct. That is the way that the Clear Audit software read the ballots. So Sarah Love in our results received 11,294 votes, and the Clear Audit system detected 11,295 votes for a difference of 1.
So, Kevin, what does that mean in terms of the vote difference between Love and Paul? Does that change?
It doesn't do anything. It's an audit mechanism, but it shows that the results from the scanner and the Clear Ballot audit are virtually identical.
Our system, the ES&S system, has been selected by the state of Maryland to be used to tabulate votes. The clear audit system was not selected to be used to tabulate votes. It was selected to be used to audit, provide a double check on our certified results.
So
But
then our
unless
result
those
that
changes are-
Love was ahead by 9 votes is not changed by the audit.
Correct.
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 Okay.
Can you explain the overvoting and undervoting columns, please?
That is the number of ballots. Overvoted with vote for this choice would be the number of ballots that a voter overvoted that included a vote for that candidate. So in this case, we were looking at the row for Sarah Love. The clear audit system detected 61 ballots that were thrown out due to an overvote that included a vote for Sarah Love and other candidates.
They voted for 4 or more delegates.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is this a public document or not?
Yeah, it's on the state board website.
So, but the overvote doesn't necessarily mean it was for that race. It was just somewhere on their ballot was an overvote.
It was for that race.
That race.
Those
Okay.
ballots in that race were overvoted for candidates including the candidate in that row.
So it wasn't counted.
Correct.
Would that potentially include ballots such as what we sometimes saw in provisionals and absentees, where a voter votes 3 and has a 4th one that has an X through it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that would include those, and that would be those would be the ballots that you'd be eyeballing in a manual recount.
For election day and early voting, because you've already
eyeballed it for the other ones,
provisionals,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think these are excellent results in terms of our count.
There is no error actually.
So we're waiting to vote on certification?
Yeah, right now, I would suggest that you recess the Board of Canvassers and go into the board meeting.
I'll move
Okay.
to reset for this one and go to the public meeting.
There's a motion to recess the Board of Canvassers. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, so we're going to, now is there a motion to go to, we had a motion into the Board of Elections?
Yeah, I move we go to the regular Board of Election meeting.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. For those visitors here, we're the same people. It's just- we're both. All right, so now we're in the Board of, so Margaret, explaining to people, we're waiting for some information before we can certify the results?
That's correct.
Okay.
We have to scan these 2 ballots, duplicate one of them, and then it has to be uploaded to the state, and then the state has to send it back, the certification document.
Okay, so the final vote will be somewhat slightly different.
Yes, the certification
Okay.
document will be different.
Okay. Jackie, you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
How you feeling?
I'm holding up.
All right. Okay, can I borrow? Okay. Board of Elections. We have a quorum. It's almost 4 o'clock on July 16th. We have a quorum, so we're going to go to the approval of minutes from June 18th.
June 18. I move we accept the minute as amended.
Look, you want to do them all as a group?
I want to read the July 4th minutes, which I don't think we've received
But we are in
previously.
June 18.
Oh, just June 18th?
Yes, the minute
Oh,
of
we
June
can-
18. We do
Okay.
one at a time.
Okay,
Okay.
you want to do one at a time?
Okay.
Okay?
Is there a motion to accept June 18th
move.
minutes? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's as
Aye.
amended, right?
As amended.
Yes, as amended, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
June 26,
The motion-
2018.
Move to accept as
Oh, no.
amended?
Let him, June 26. I move we accept the minute as amended.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now July 4.
We haven't seen that?
He's going to read
No.
it.
No, you just got them today, but they are very
Hold on.
short. Remember,
Huh?
we went into executive session shortly thereafter.
Oh, okay, I see.
Oh, do we have July 4?
Where is it?
Must be just one page or something, right?
July 4 was one page.
It's one full page.
Oh, here, let's hold
Let
it.
me see, you got it?
Okay, here.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
July 4th.
No correction. No.
Convene board meeting.
This is the first time the board is seeing when they weren't sending it yet.
Just a grammatical thing, but it probably should say under report on executive session, it should probably say to seek legal counsel with a period at the end. Instead of just the section number, it says seek legal counsel.
What is it, David?
On page 2,
Yes.
in the middle of the page where it says report on executive session, the Montgomery County Board of Elections convened an executive session at 10:05 a.m. pursuant to general provision articles sections 3-305B7. I think it should say at that point, to seek legal counsel, period.
Okay. That's the only changes?
In the 10 seconds I've had to read it, yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Alan, any correction? Okay, I move we accept the minute as amended at the 2 in.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we've got executive session meeting minutes.
Executive session.
Everybody look at those?
June 18.
Have we
No,
done
May
those?
21st.
Hmm?
May 21st.
May 21st? Okay, May 21st. Everybody has that?
Right.
Are they in our
May
folder?
21st was the ones that were sent months ago. There was no changes sent at that time.
Well, that's an oldie.
Yeah, we didn't have any
And there's
changes.
two sets.
Did I,
There's a set that
did I,
Kevin
did I
read.
respond indicating I didn't have anything, or did I not
Correct.
respond?
You didn't respond either way.
It was sent to
I
all
went
of
back to
us.
see my email and I didn't see anything.
That's the situation.
All right, so you want to do May 21st? Alan?
May 21st? Let's see, here they are.
For this executive
There were
Yeah.
no changes, I guess we.
That's the
we
confidential
accepted
thing.
changes.
Just executive.
For this executive
We
session.
didn't accept anything.
Oh, you wouldn't have gotten them because they would have gone to
Correct.
Kevin.
Yeah.
There's two sets.
There's two different sets.
Yeah.
One set I prepared, one set Lisa prepared.
Here it is.
Okay.
And I
So,
think David made, as my recollection, David, at least on my set, made one change as someone who made a statement, but other than that, there were no other changes that were proposed.
Marianne and Alan and I submitted combined changes for May 21st on June.
Executive session?
Executive
No, I'm
session?
sorry, you're right,
That's
you're
right.
right.
That's
you're
the
right,
executive
you're
session.
right, you're right. Sorry.
There's only one page.
I don't remember.
Those are now fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Then,
I move we accept the minutes.
Sorry.
Okay? This
May
May 21st executive session, Jim.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
As amended?
As amended.
What
That's a
amendment?
combination of both, Kevin, both of them?
No. We're going to do both of them same time?
No, now we're June 18th.
I said May 21st.
May 21st had two sets. The
The
one that I prepared
don't
that you-
recall this at all.
And then the one that Kevin
It would,
prepared on a personal
without
matter.
having these, I
Yeah,
have
I
no
don't have
idea
it.
what we're
Here.
referring to.
Here, this is May 21.
Lisa, I only have May
Executive session.
21st executive session. I don't have two session. Two.
Because those are the
And it
ones
was
that I
this.
prepared. I
Okay,
would not
okay.
seen the one that Kevin sent. We were
I
sent
know,
out.
but do we
that's
have
it.
it? I don't
I
have
would
it.
have back to you.
We
I
don't
don't
have
have
We don't
them.
have them.
All right.
None of the staff.
That was when
Staff was
Kevin
not
had
part of that
minutes
executive
separately.
session.
Is it?
So we're fine with that.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay?
What we talking about? Still talking about May 21st, or are we on to another?
We do combine. Kevin and Lisa. Can we do that? Do you want it?
No, we
Just
just
make
looked
it
at
easy.
one.
You
What
just
did we just look at?
May
Okay, you just say
21st.
May 21st?
Then do
Okay.
that one.
I move we accept May 21st. Is it what changes
Second.
or no?
Second.
The,
With as amended.
Lisa's did not include changes.
Lisa
There's
did
two
not
sets of May
include what?
21st minutes, one executive session
Kevin,
with
can I
changes,
distribute what I have, or is that only for executive
one
session?
Didn't see it.
from the
We had
regular
separate
session.
minutes from
Did I
Kevin
see
for
it?
a portion of
We
the.
can
Without
review the
changes.
executive session minutes during
Okay.
executive session. if you would
So this is this is
I-
Lisa's section of May 21st, is that it?
I think so.
Yes.
What Naheed made the motion on.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, we'll
May 21st
Okay.
pass on this.
session.
We'll get them.
Okay.
We'll pass at the moment.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I hate to, I know we passed last month. As long as we're straight
No, we're
on
going
it.
to do it in executive session.
It won't take us long.
So the motion that just passed, and I'm sorry, I'm doing
Because
this
it's
for your
executive. We got to
benefit.
go in executive
The
session.
motion that just passed, we're now taking off the table?
I don't know what
Because
motion.
there was a
We
motion
can't
that
accept
passed
this in
for
executive
Lisa's
session. We have to do
May
it in
21st
Even in the
executive
executive
session
session?
Hold
minutes.
on, wait a minute, guy. Do you want to move Lisa's version of executive session of May 21st, 2018?
That's
Just
fine. That's
vote.
fine
That's
with
fine.
me.
Okay, I
yes.
move we accept that Lisa.
Right, Lisa's Porsche.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So Lisa, what else? Executive session of June 18?
Well, then, where are we at with the May
Kevin.
21st executive session
The
minutes? that
other
Kevin prepared?
executive session was amended.
There's one change made. There was a comment that was made, I believe.
By me, probably.
But that was our
It was either
combined
you
one,
or
wasn't it?
Alan, and you both agreed it was the other person. That was the one change.
That's right.
Do you remember, Alan?
No,
I
I
remember.
So
don't
that didn't
remember to the
include
one
mine,
time.
huh? That wasn't.
No, the one that we did together was the public minutes.
That's a public.
It was
It,
public,
it, it was it was not the.
So can we move Kevin executives?
I would like to at least find them.
Okay.
You know, just
Yeah, we can, let's move along. We'll do it today,
Yeah,
but.
How
Hold
about
on.
the June 18th executive?
June
session?
18 executive, let him, June 18 executive session. June 18. I don't see any changes here.
I don't think I sent those in advance.
well, then I'm not ready.
No, then hold them. Hold the rest of it.
Okay, we'll hold the rest. Okay, there's no changes to the agenda except we're going back and forth into Board of Canvassers. So is there any public comments, Lisa?
No one indicated
We need
that
to
they
share
wanted to
this.
speak
This
today.
is mine.
Public comments.
There's a need for an executive session.
No public comments? Okay. Mark?
I believe that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We need
had
to
it-
have it. Go ahead, David.
Did Dolly want to?
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't know if that should be during public comments or if that should be about observations about the election, because I believe she wanted to give observations about the election. So it could be that we could include it whenever you want.
You could do it during
Mr.
public
President,
comments.
Hold on.
two things. One, we do need an executive session. And number two, public comments is the appropriate time for Dolly to,
Okay,
Ms. Kildee, to make any statements.
okay. Come on up, Dolly. Welcome. You got a chair for Dolly?
We'll just be very brief.
That's a better chair. Welcome, Dolly.
Hello. My name is Dolly Kildee, and I represent the MCDCC. However, the issue I have today is not from them. We usually do a formal report of things that we get from the precinct organization, but I wanted to call to your attention as early as possible that at Gaithersburg High School, which is my precinct, we had no handicap parking at all.
Wow.
You don't?
No, there was no
Yep.
handicap.
Any
Don't they
idea
have
how
an-
that happened?
Do they not have a handicap area routinely there?
They do on what I'll call the upper parking lot, but the voters were directed to the lower parking lot. Gaithersburg High School, so the new high school, I think it's just been used 3 times, and each time the voting entrance has been different. So this, again, was completely different to what it was.
I heard that there were also school events going on that day.
There were.
So is it? I don't know if that contributed to the issues.
I don't think it did, because there was parking on the upper parking lot. There was available parking.
And was there handicap parking on the upper parking lot?
Yes.
But the entrance close to the polls was the lower parking lot?
Right. The people were directed to the lower parking lot for
Right.
voting.
Right, and obviously
And
a
had to
handicap
walk
spot
up the
that's a handicap spot that's far away from the entrance defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's no use.
Margaret.
Well, and there weren't any. There were no handicaps.
You
We'll
take
follow up.
Yeah,
We'll follow up. Mr.
Yeah,
President.
they
good,
will
thank
follow
you.
up. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dolly.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's very important. Thank you.
yes, thank you.
No other public comments? Okay, Margaret, your report?
I really don't have much to report. Personnel are being held as we prepare for a recount. So I've not let anyone go at this time. So budget, Margie?
Okay, the spreadsheet I believe is sent out to everybody in advance of the meeting. You'll note that it is through June 30th. Pulled the numbers on July 2nd. This is not the final for FY18. However, as you know, we will still receive chargebacks into August, and normally it's in September when I will provide the final spreadsheet to you. This does look very positive. It showed that there were 17% of the budget remaining. However, what is important to note for the board members is that this spreadsheet contains payroll only through June 9th. So all payroll, including the covering the early voting and election day period and the beginning of the canvass, where we have extensive overtime and extensive additional staffing, is not showing yet on this. So I think we're in good shape. We did encumber everything for the state line items. We are waiting to see final results from chargebacks, but I'm actually very pleased with the way it looked. So I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you, Margie.
Thank you.
Voter registration remains closed until certification is final. The certification will be sometime today, and I believe the state has notified us they are opening the books tomorrow.
So that's based on our certification, not theirs?
That's correct. State Board of Elections, they're meeting on July 19th, 2016, and they will be doing the statewide certification at that time.
That's this Thursday.
This Thursday, correct.
What time?
I think 2 o'clock. I would need to double check that for you.
We're going to be here.
I think so.
All right.
I will be there.
Unless we're counting somewhere.
I will be there too.
Okay.
I will be there too.
So the next item would be, I have nothing further with regards to the state because we're still tabulating. Is the board attorney report?
As you know, Nancy Florine has filed a declaration of intent to run as an unaffiliated petition candidate. This issue came up originally actually in Prince George's County. I became aware of it on election night when the attorney for Prince George's County asked me to take a look at it. I've looked at the various sections, and I do not read the section when you file a declaration of intent as requiring you to be of that party at that time. I believe the most logical interpretation of the various sections is that you have to be unaffiliated as of the time you file your certificate of candidacy, which is the first Monday in August, which is also the deadline for filing a petition to become a candidate. So we have gotten the declaration of intent. The board does not need to take any action on that issue. Ms. Florine has filed for an advance determination on her petition, which she's permitted to under the election law article. That is reviewed by the election director, and the election director is required to issue an advance determination as to whether the form of the petition meets the requirements of Maryland law. That letter will go out tomorrow. Having reviewed the petition, it's my view that it does meet all the requirements, and so Ms. Florine will be receiving a letter through her representative tomorrow that her advance determination has been completed and that the petition format meets the standards, and that she needs to get 1% of the registered voters in Montgomery County, and that would include active and inactive voters. So, you know, and she'll have until, I believe it's August 6th, to collect those signatures for the staff then to go through and determine whether she's met the requisite number.
I believe that number is as of January 1?
January 1
of this year.
Correct.
How many signatures does she need?
7,244.
So in other words, she has to be a registered, unaffiliated, come in with 7,000 whatever signatures
Right.
by August 6th.
Valid signatures.
Valid.
That meet all the requirements.
So there's nothing for us to do until August 6th.
Correct. Correct.
Do we provide guidance on, as I understand it, the rules on what are valid signatures are quite detailed?
The state, if they go to the state website, the state has a whole section on petitions, and one of the areas is signature standards, which begins with Doe versus Montgomery County Board of Elections and moves forward all the way through to the present. But Yeah, there are very specific standards that have to be followed for someone's signature to be counted.
But she can change a party affiliation anytime up to August 6th.
Correct. My understanding is she plans to do so soon.
Okay. So there's nothing for us to do today with that.
There's no actions taken, needs to be taken now. The question will be whether she submits enough valid signatures, and then the board will act on her certificate of candidacy.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
No?
Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
Okay.
Old business?
Well, I have nothing under old business except, no, I have nothing under old business.
I have a Jim, may I make
Yes,
a
Jackie.
suggestion?
Yes, Jackie.
I think this probably would be considered old business. I would like to suggest that someone be assigned to get together a letter or a paper listing our concerns about MVA, and that we then look at it. It'd be sent to each of us to look at and comment on by conference phone or by email. And then we circulate it to the other chairmen of the 5 big counties before we submit it to the state for their comment, and perhaps ask them if they'd like to sign off.
That's a good suggestion. That sounds like a good suggestion, Jackie.
I wouldn't limit it to the chairs.
No, we're all going to review it.
Well, the chair can do what they want with it.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
You'll recall, Jackie, with our issue on this 4 years ago, one of the questions raised by the state board to us was, well, or actually they raised it to the director, to Linda Lamone, have you heard problems from any other counties?
Right, Mary Ann, you're absolutely right. That's why I thought
the answer was no, which is always a little disappointing to us when,
Right. Well, I think if we circulate it, that we'll find maybe some other concerns or find out what others think about it.
Sure.
My only concern would be that we not wait too long for the other 5, because our issues are quite significant regardless of whether they have them or not. I mean, obviously we're much better off if we have allies. But
yes, well, however it's worded, all worded. But I just think we need to act. If we can act on it today, then we can get that started immediately.
Can I keep that? Keep it? No. Thanks, Jackie.
I'd like to flag an issue that we encountered during the canvassing, which is the wording of the provisional ballot application.
Right.
And it's basically aspirational. People were asked to vote, how would you like to vote? And they didn't always vote in accordance with the registration. So I like to move that we ask the state board to change the form to read something like this: in accordance with my registration, I would like to vote a blank ballot, as opposed to just letting them decide what they want to do, and if they make a decision that's not in accordance with the registration, it's not going to count.
Exactly.
I agree, Al.
Yeah, the form says, tell us what you want to vote.
I'll
what
second that if it's appropriate this time.
No, we're going to do a letter to the...
Yeah.
I'm making notes of...
Jim, were you going to ask maybe Kevin, to put together our concerns on a letter?
Since Kevin doesn't have anything else?
Yeah, Kevin's got nothing to do, so we're going to have Kevin...
You're right. I just...
Ask a busy person.
Passing it by, if we want to move quickly, something's got to be done right away.
Okay. Margaret?
Next is board member observations from the primary gubernatorial election.
Well, man, where are we on the certification? Because I know a lot of people are here waiting for that, time-wise.
I don't know. They have to scan the ballot, then they have to create another stick.
They're going to do it all in one. They can do it on one stick.
Okay.
Basically, we're scanning 2 different ballots, and we send the results to the state.
The results they could have already sent them to the state, and then the state has to send us back a new certification document. So I don't know how long that's going to take.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that the state stays there long enough so we can get the certification document.
We have quite a few problems with the handicap. Silver Spring, a church in Falls Road and Glen. Said handicap. I followed the handicap goes nowhere. The church.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the church.
If you have specific precincts that you have concerned, please email me those locations, and Chris and her team will go out after we finish the recount to look at the facilities in question. Okay?
Well, right now we have one recount. We may have a second. So I know how busy the staff is. Do you think we should put off this commentary, because it could take hours once we all air the whole primary and early voting?
I'd certainly be in favor, because frankly, I guess I didn't realize that we were going to do that at this meeting today. In light of the other things.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and and how do people feel about that? I think we got a recount. We get possibly a second recount. Maybe when the dust settles, we can at one of our meetings publicly discuss everything.
Well,
I think that's a
one
great
of the
idea.
things that I would ask is that if there are specific issues that require the staff to go out to a polling place, to let us know so that we can be prepared to answer, because we are talking a very short time period. I mean, besides the recount, we'll be doing petitions. We have to, third Monday of August, we will receive the county charter amendments, and we'll begin the process of preparing the ballot. So things start moving along.
Mr. President, Jessica said that the ballots have been scanned. Janet Ross will be up with the reports for you all to sign shortly.
And then it's sent to the state, and then they'll send it back, and then we can certify the election?
Yeah. Yes.
Does that mean today?
Yes.
Today.
Yeah, the state needs for us to certify.
It's fast.
Because they may leave at 4:30.
It's fast.
They need us to certify so they can certify.
Okay. You need to leave?
No. No, I said they may leave. Oh. State board.
Oh, the state board. Yeah.
Oh, they're waiting for that.
They'll receive it.
Have other counties already submitted?
Oh, yeah.
We're generally last.
Yeah, generally. But, I mean, here we go. We have some good stuff.
I do have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have a certification document?
No, she's going to email it to me.
Okay.
I just need a signature on that.
These are the zeros, the two of us?
Yeah, the 2 ballots we just scanned.
What's this?
Those are the 2 ballots.
Those are the 2 ballots.
Okay.
Just a little. You can pass this around. So we're just changing 2 ballots. That's all.
Yes.
And one was an accept in part, right?
Barbara, can I ask a question while they were
These are the votes.
Sure.
Do we know when precinct results are going to be available?
Today, once you certify
Once you certify the election, those will go online today?
Yes.
We're waiting to push the button. We gotta wait for you to certify.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Certification is so good.
I understand.
These are all. No. This one.
Their signature.
You can verify it.
Yeah, that's one. And we can pass this around and look at it.
I'm gonna go check my email, see if she sent it.
Okay. And I need 4 copies. Please.
You want to pass it around, David?
While we're
and then I'll give
waiting
it
for that, does the board want to address the proposed moving of polling place 417 from the Kennedy Shriver Aquatic Center to B'nai Israel Synagogue?
So moved.
This is okay.
Yes, happens to be my home precinct. And
David, Alan, could you look at that before we sign it? So we want to go ahead. I'm sorry.
This was a polling place that needed to be changed because Lux Manor School was having major, I don't know, is it being demolished and rebuilt?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's quite major, whatever's taking place there. And it appeared that the aquatic center was going to be a good secondary location during that time because of its location and parking, handicap, etc. However, when I arrived the night before Election Day, it was pretty shocking to see the size of the room for openers. I mean, in total, it was maybe half the size of this room to have all the equipment that was necessary to be in there, the various stations and separation of duties, etc. And it shocked me that it would have passed the necessary checkoff to become a polling place because of its size, and given the number of voters that come in there, etc. Also, there really is not a suitable place for people looking ahead to the November election, and when people might have to be inside the polling place with lines or whatnot, and then no facility for staff at all, where a break room where they could eat lunch or have any spare time. I mean, the facility just can't accommodate what we typically require for a polling place. On Election Day, before our 11 o'clock break when we come up here, David and I were talking, and I recognized that he was in the nearby area, and I asked him to stop by, and I told him what my concerns had been in finding the place and to see what he thought in terms of how it was functioning that day. And I'll let him speak for himself. But I also, reached out to you right away, I believe that night, saying that, wow, wow, what is this? And the thought began surfacing as to where else we'd be able to vote for the general election. With that, I'll ask David to jump in.
Yeah. I agree completely with Mary Ann. The site is too small. When I was there at about 11 o'clock in the morning, there was a significant line, which ordinarily we don't find at 11 o'clock in the morning almost anywhere for the gubernatorial primary. But the reason why there was a significant line is because there was a small number of election judges, because there was only room for a certain number. And if someone literally had to go from one place to another, if someone needed help on the ballot marking device, and it had to be one person from each party, it left a vacancy somewhere else. The judges were really stressed out, and they were basically begging for better space or more people. And so, fortunately, we know from our discussions of other polling places that B'nai Israel is out there. It's, I think, less than a mile from this location. And anyway, I hope that I know that we don't like to move polling places for the general election, but for this one, I think we'd be really asking for trouble to try and have the general election in that small space.
So, all right, so staff was able to get to B'nai Israel. They have agreed to allow us to have a polling place there for the November election. We do not have a lease agreement. I mean, this is just preliminary. Chris was in training, so I sent Mary Beth out. If you wish to, I would entertain a motion to move 417 to B'nai Israel Synagogue and allow the staff to move forward and to get the information over to the state board as quickly as possible.
David, motion?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one opposed.
Okay. Then the only other thing I have is the recount. Generally, the plan is to work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And if it looks like we may complete the task, we would ask the board of canvassers to consider going till 7 p.m. but we have to wait for the certification and all the legal pieces to fall in place before we go from that. And
what day, Margaret?
Well, I don't know. That's up to. That's out of my control.
Ideally Friday.
Okay.
It's not
Well,
Wednesday,
You're not going
Thursday
to
anymore.
have a quorum. I don't think. I don't know.
There's no Wednesday, Thursday, right?
Not Wednesday or Thursday.
Because
that's
we already are doing the other one on Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh.
And
I see. So you're doing Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday. You're
first-
going into the second
first
one.
Paul and Love would be Friday.
Oh, not Wednesday?
It's no longer Wednesday?
No, it's not going to be Wednesday.
It's not going to be filed in time, or we're not going to be ready in time?
The state's not going to certify in time.
The state is
We have to
certifying.
wait for the state certification to start the recount.
That's what we've been told.
That's 2 good days they're wasting of all of us being available and having cleared our calendars.
And now
Or almost all of us.
Mr.
Yeah,
Blair,
I
Mr.
was
Blair
gonna
has
hear
3
Wednesday,
days from
Thursday.
today to ask for a recount,
Correct.
and then we have to start it within how many days of?
Well, if we, the regulations,
Blair's representatives have been, the council have been very easy to work with, and we're trying to go ahead and work out a schedule where ideally if we can do the Love Paul race first on Friday and Saturday, and then if a petition is filed on the county executive race, start that on Monday.
wow.
Okay, so I think
Does that mean that Sunday is not an option?
According to the rules, it's what did we were sent
No,
something that said
the rule-
Sundays and holidays were not.
No, the rules require that we meet for 8 hours a day, Monday to Saturday, but that does not prevent us from meeting on Sunday.
I'm not here.
It's a function of whether the staff's going to be ready.
well, let's move to a happier note. We're supposed to have a meeting in August. Maybe we can, as we do every year, not meet in August because everybody needs a rest, especially
Yes,
after these
that's right.
weekends. We all agree?
You're going to do that before we decide what we're doing with the recounts?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
who knows what we'll be doing?
You think we'll be
in August?
recounting August 20th?
Well, we might need to have certifications and or recertificate. What do you do after a recount?
Well, it'll have to recertify. Because even on Baltimore County, for example, the numbers didn't change the outcome of the race, but the numbers changed.
And is there a re-audit, or is it just a recertification after
Just
that?
a recertification.
All right, so maybe we'll hold off on that. Okay.
Can you do it by phone? If that's the only item?
Well, yeah.
And it's late enough in the month. I mean, it might not. Hopefully it'll be finished.
No, Mary Ann makes a
before
good
that.
point. Let's hold off on deciding about an August meeting.
Because you may have the Florine petition as well.
Well, let's do August 6th.
20 days for verification, but,
Okay.
Right,
Okay,
there may be signature issues.
Right, okay, we'll hold off.
We just spoke when something comes.
Yep, we'll hold off.
So can we get back to the
Right.
the recount schedule? Because I didn't realize until now.
I thought we were starting
I
Wednesday.
thought we were starting Wednesday as well.
And David and I had spoken. We thought we'd start Wednesday and be done Thursday, hopefully.
In the district, but they're saying it is because the regulation doesn't talk about their certification. The regulation says within 2 days after the challenge is filed, we're supposed to start. So why? I don't know when it's being filed, but if it's being filed today, do we even have an opportunity to wait past Wednesday?
Yeah.
So we've been told by the state board that for the fall race, we cannot file the petition until they certify on Thursday. So we're happy to work with you so that we can file it on Thursday and get started on Friday. But since ours is technically a state race, we filed our certificate of candidacy with the state board. We have to wait for their certification.
Kevin,
Which
is
they said happens on
that
Thursday.
consistent with what the statute says? I realize the state board.
It's not entirely clear. I was hopeful that we were going to be able to start right away. The staff's ready to go on the Paul Love race, and it's been prepped and ready to go. And
I mean,
We
so
were then subsequently told by the state that you can't start until they.
is this the
They're ready
statute
to
that
go.
talks about the appropriate board, or that's a different statute? This statute, I thought, said the local board. I don't remember.
Why we cannot do Wednesday poll and poll lost?
It's a state race, and it says that the state has to certify before you should file the petition.
Oh, it's a state race.
And it is.
So you've got petition should be filed with the.
Board with which the candidate's certificate of candidacy was filed, and that was the state board?
That was the state board.
For,
and
for
then-
both candidates?
No, just for Paul.
Just for Paul.
Oh, just for Paul, but because Paul is the one who's filing, he can't do it until they.
Right.
Until the state board certifies.
Well, does it require certification?
Yeah, that's number 2. So we could technically file it on.
Well, it says after the results have been certified, but it doesn't say by whom.
By whom? That's
On
not
the-
clear.
It's not clear.
No.
On the state board's website too, on their timelines, which are skewed from this delay here, it does make it clear that the state board's certification is a different point. I mean, we're really happy to work around you guys, but the state board, I've talked to Nikki Charleston and Jared Demarinis, and they've both been insistent on this.
Wow. Okay,
Sorry.
thank you. Yeah, you're just the messenger.
Yep.
You know.
Well, I know some board members who prefer to work on the weekend.
Yes, that would include me.
Would work on the weekend. Oh, and maybe Alex will be back.
Well, we'll know more Thursday.
So, where did Mr. Blair file his certificate of candidacy?
Here.
So, if he were to file his potential request for a recount, and he were to file it today, after we certify, are we required by that same law to start on Wednesday?
Well, I've been speaking to Brian that we try and coordinate this so that we could sequence these out. The problem is that we were prepared to do legislative district 16 first, and up until the state recently said you can't start until we have certified.
There's a tremendous amount of prep work that has to be accomplished in order to do a manual recount.
Right.
So while the staff was in here Friday, late, Saturday, and because we hadn't had a day off for
Understood.
beginning, whatever, they had Sunday off, but they're working late tonight, we're working all day tomorrow. We're trying to get county-wide all of the preparations ready for a county-wide recount, manual recount.
I guess the hard thing is getting all the District 16 ballots from all the different early voting sites.
Yes, that is a challenge.
That's a challenge.
Well, does it argue, I mean, I realize that you've already done the prep for 16, but given board member schedules, and we haven't even gotten into next week yet, where there's all kinds of other issues, does it argue for doing the county race first? Starting on Friday or whenever we can.
We're prepared to start Friday.
For either one?
Doing county or I know my staff's.
Are you no longer prepared for tomorrow, or Wednesday rather, for anything?
We're being told by the state that we cannot do the love poll. We're not prepared to do a county-wide race on Wednesday. I might be able to pull it together for Thursday, knowing that there's going to be a lot of work that's going to be going on behind the scenes. Additionally, because we are Baltimore County just finished counting 87,000 ballots by hand in several days. And so to be able to do that, we have to reach out to other jurisdictions to help us do that tabulation, to get it done. So I have to, once we have a date that we can firmly start, then we're going to reach out to other jurisdictions. Just as we help other jurisdictions do counting, they're also going to help us do tabulation.
Kevin, do we know regarding the Blair camp, can they ask for a paper recount or
yes.
So they can ask for paper also, right? Okay.
Are they willing to tell us what they plan to ask for?
Anyhow.
See what you certify first.
Are you Blair guy?
Beg your pardon?
Are you Blair person?
Yes.
Okay, move fast.
So we're just waiting for the state now, right?
Yes, we're waiting for the state.
But we don't need to wait for the state to do the county race, except that we're not ready to do the county race before Thursday at the earliest and Friday more comfortably.
So we're free the 18th, right?
Correct.
Okay, the 19th we might come in.
And I can be there.
Really?
All right, let us know.
You can be there which days, Jackie?
I'll, all things being equal here, I'll be there I can be there any day.
Wow.
Up until the following
You-
week, they're operating on my knee on the 24th.
You're a superhero, Jackie.
Not really.
Well,
Not really, I just miss you
Well,
all.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a
Mary.
Okay, anyhow,
Should we take a
all right
recess
then.
now?
to do what?
To
Just
talk
wait
about.
for the state.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Margaret, everybody, I mean, we have a lot of people here waiting for the certification. How do you feel about just taking a recess now, and then as soon as the state?
No, do we have any more business in public meeting?
No.
No.
So I'll move.
Well, but we also don't have the certification ready yet.
No, we don't.
No, but I'm just to take a recess and then.
Hold on. I can move, we adjourn the public meeting if you have nothing
Yeah, whatever.
else to discuss.
Then when the state gives us a shout back.
Wait, we need the state to tell us that we can certify.
Yes.
Today?
Yes.
You may have executive session.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Executive
We sent our
session,
final
yes.
numbers
I
to
forgot
them.
about
They have to send it back to
executive
us.
session.
No, but if, well, but if, no, but if we
Right.
recess now for executive session, everyone has to leave and come
Jen.
back.
No, yeah.
May
No.
I ask you, do we
No, this is just a.
have to
just
wait
a-
for the state in order to certify? Can we vote on it now and then
No.
sign it whenever it comes in from
No,
the state?
we can't.
No, you've got to see it
You cannot
first.
do that.
No, I'm just talking about a recess.
Yeah, not a.
Not a-
Okay, guys, wait a
I'm
minute.
gonna break.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Listen.
Let's do a
Great.
break.
I move.
Great.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's take a break.
I move we go to the executive session.
Second.
Second?
All those in favor? Jackie, you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in
Aye.
executive session.
Okay, what do we do now? Do we open, do we
They don't
approve?
have to be in the room. We've got the door
No, of
open.
course
So
not.
No.
so
Yeah,
now I
go
need a
ahead.
motion to approve both the
It's just the
salary
stuff
increase
there.
and the future fiscal.
Okay,
impact.
guys, I'm moving the accept what we talk in that executive session. The increase
The budget.
and the other
The
items.
budget items.
The budget items.
Second.
All those approve?
Should
Second.
we say on the record what it is that we are
I'll
doing
make sure
as
that the
opposed?
motion
No.
Well,
indicates
I
an
understand.
increase to the board member stipend.
Increasing it
And
by
the budget.
$500
So by $500 for both.
for all board
for all board
members.
members.
Okay, we're
And
gonna
the
talk-
stipend by $250. And then requesting an additional $107,370 in the budget for various items as discussed with the board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, welcome everybody back. We're,
So there's a motion.
I seconded it.
all those in
Okay.
favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. That
Okay.
gives me what I need to move forward. Thank you all very
We're
much.
back in,
Thank you,
we're
Margie.
waiting to hear back from the state, but I understand it's printing with a small p. But there was one new, right? There was one new business item that I turned to David. He asked to bring this up, and I forgot to bring it up on new business. And then by the time we finish that, I'm sure we'll have the certification. Dave?
Okay,
Which one
thank
is
you.
that?
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I should have brought it up earlier, but I forgot. I'm sorry.
The new business item is the one that it relates to the St. Catherine Labore site, and we discovered, well, Alan discovered by driving past the church that a school is moving into that site, and we had no idea. That obviously, for us to have an early voting site at a school that is in operation is a very different experience than having an early voting site in an empty building. And aside from my disappointment at that apparently some board members knew and staff knew, but it was not discussed in May or June. and here we are in July. I think there's a number of questions that I'm interested in, and I know Alan has some questions as well about how this would potentially affect our early voting at that location. Did you want to go first?
Well, one of the questions I had is.
Yeah, we're going to get Chris. I think she's the best person to answer.
I'm happy to speak to this issue since I'm the person that originally did the work to secure St. Catherine's for us. And there's no secret that I think, David, you haven't been much in favor of it from the beginning, which is unfortunate.
That is not
However, the issue involving the school, a new school coming in to the facility, which is a school, is really not going to impact our issue for the early voting site. Yes, I knew about it when it surfaced and spoke with Margaret and staff about it. They immediately looked into the situation and were in touch with the pastor about it, etc., who, of course, we had worked very closely with in the past. I'll be interested to hear the questions that you have with it, but in fact, it turned out to be a wonderful location, a wonderful site. The facility itself, the room that we vote in, is perfect for early voting, and the other issue, of course, you should recall is that there was no real alternative. We were, under the gun for this location in Wheaton, where we all worked so hard and staff worked so hard, I think going to every public and private buildings available in the area to have a location, because places that we had used in the past were not going to be available. And the thought of changing something here, I can't even imagine. But the fact is, I don't think it was an issue that comes to the concern of a full board discussion, as we don't really discuss individual voting sites when there's, a little tweak to them of some sort.
This is not a tweak.
Well, good. We'll hear your questions then, David.
Yeah. Well, no. I need to respond. First of all, I voted for this site. I did everything possible to support this site. I even made sure that we had a record that the other alternative site was inadequate in order to have this site. So this is not about supporting this site. I think we should use this site. I said that before, and I say it today. But as I have been saying as a Johnny One Note since Mary Ann was president of the board, and while Jim's been president of the board, we are all equal board members. And there is a big difference between using the site as we did before. We have an agreement with the church to have that site, and to use that site when school is in session. I don't think Montgomery County schools have been open on election day since I was in elementary school. There's a reason for that. It's because mixing schools and elections can be more complicated than simply using the building. It has a number of different impacts, and the idea that and again, my first reaction upon hearing it was, what are we going to do? And it turns out that that there's been a lot of discussion already ongoing. That's great, but it is a poor way for us to do business to decide that we're going to have going to continue to do this. A major difference in one of our early voting sites. We've had other things happen in early voting sites where the board has been informed. This certainly rose to that level.
So here are my questions. So I understand that the Avalon School is going to be using the same building we've had the early voting in. Is that right?
I don't know.
It's going to, as you know, if you're familiar with the location, Alan, and I gather you researched it, it's a very large building, of which we have a room in the very inside the front door.
So will Avalon School be using the, I'll call it multi-purpose room?
No, they will not.
They
During
won't
the
be
time
using it?
period that my understanding is they will not be using that room that we have for the early voting.
Will that be renovated before the general election?
Pardon me?
Will that room be renovated before the general election?
They are making upgrades throughout the building there to the school, and potentially, yes, there probably will be upgrades done.
One of the concerns that David and I had was, will there be crosses in that room added? I mean, previously there were not, now it's fine with us. But
it's not just about us, it's about, there are for some people, it is not permissible for them to be there in the presence of religious symbols. Our MOU says that we will not do anything to religious symbols in the facility. But if religious symbols are added, there's a category of voters who will not be able to vote there.
Christy?
In my mind, this discussion has not come up, Mr. Naaman, with Mr. Hawley, who's the executive director of Avalon, and the female counterpart to Avalon. They have not brought up that they would be doing any kind of renovations in the Claridge room that would make it appear as a sanctuary. There won't be crosses or icons added.
Good.
How many parking spaces do we expect the school will be taking up?
Mr. Hawley and I have had discussion regarding that, and as you recall, there's a lower parking lot that faces or is down a level from the Claridge room.
Right.
The front row of that particular area, he has asked for staff. Now, staff would not be there early in the morning or late in the afternoon or evening, and they would not be there on weekends. There's a row there's the brick building that faces Claridge that is the rectory. Right. Behind the rectory there is a parking lot. That one row that would face the rectory would be staff parking.
So do we know how many spaces we're talking about?
I'm saying that there are probably 30 along there.
Okay, then how about will some of the older students also be taking up spaces?
That we have not talked about. He's just basically talked to us about staff parking. He was concerned that his staff would have parking.
Sure.
The other issue would be that there are some spaces taken in the back corner that are along the school, and that wouldn't be for parking necessarily. That would be for recreation during the day for the students.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Recreation.
No, I heard that part.
Okay.
The part they want to eliminate some parking spaces for that?
Yes, back in the corner on the back side of the building, there are several spaces that they would like to reserve so students have a way to take recess during the day.
Some of those spaces are for handicapped voters?
No, that's not the portion that I'm talking about.
It's further back.
It's
further away
back.
from the building.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Will there be any effect on the electioneering zones or the signage?
No, not whatsoever. And matter of fact, the director has mentioned that they take up more of the green space during class or during recreation periods, but he has relinquished that to us and understands that we would have signage there and voters there. So he's keeping the students in that reserved area that we just spoke about.
Okay. This question might be relevant to Kevin as much as it is. I know Kevin's getting ready to go somewhere. But all the discussion has been about conversations with the school's headmaster, and I gather the school is another lessee like we are.
Correct.
Has there been any change to our agreement with the church for the use of the building?
I haven't been part of any of these discussions.
No, David, there has not been
Okay.
any approach that our agreement would be changed.
Okay, but it sounds like we're having, I don't know, we're having conversations about the use of the facility with another lessee who's actually signing a lease after we did, and so I guess I'm a little surprised that would be that would be the party with whom we're having these conversations, because they're not the owners of the property.
Again, I haven't been privy to any of those discussions, so I will get more actively involved in looking.
Okay, and then I gather that if there's a concern between the school and us, if they want to do something that we don't want or vice versa, then it really becomes an issue for you to discuss with the church because it's based on what's in
Correct.
What's in the agreement.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything?
There really is nothing, to my knowledge, that the school is talking about that is contrary to what's in our contract with the church.
Well, we'll certainly confirm that.
Okay, we proved everything. Quickly. And I have a bit of a cotton mouth here. So here we go. They are making photocopies of the election results for everyone that would like some. So I need a motion to certify the election. And I'm requesting that the the chair and the secretary of the Board of Canvassers sign these documents.
I'll move.
We have a motion.
Okay, second.
Alan?
Second.
You moving to certify the election results?
I second Lisa.
Yes, I got that.
Any discussion? All those in favor of certifying the election, say aye.
Aye.
No one opposed. You make copies for everybody?
We're blue ink.
They're making copies right this very second,
Which we sign?
where the little tabs are.
There's 3 places on each document, Mr. Shallock, and there's a document in each folder. There's 4 folders. The document is exactly the same in the 4 folders.
Lisa, would you send me one, please?
Yes, I will.
You sign there.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to do it in blue. Anybody have a blue pen?
Here, I
Here.
have one.
Thanks, Dave. Okay.
Once you have one.
I'm signed here? On the above, right?
Yes, above. Once you sign one complete, I'll take one so I can take the state.
There's 3 places that you need to sign.
1,
That's one. And then
2.
Did you print your name as well?
No.
Huh?
No. It's printed.
Oh. Yeah, thank you.
Where's the third one?
and on the very back, it's like the second
You're
to
going
the
to put this
last
together?
page.
You're going to put it back together?
Yeah, we can.
Where is it?
Oh, I see. Here's the,
Did you
this little one.
I got 2.
One copy of election results coming.
Where is it? I can't find the third one.
I have more.
This,
Is this all?
right.
Give me 1 minute.
So that's 3 and that's one.
2 more copies.
But there's just 2 here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we
There's
take
gonna be
that
4.
folder, Mr. Shalleck, then we can keep them separate. And there should be 3
Okay.
signatures.
I got to find them now?
Huh? Yeah. There's 1 on that side and 2 on the other. Okay.
I hope you didn't take those little tabs off.
No, I didn't take them off.
No, you didn't.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay. 3 copies.
Okay.
4 copies. 5, 6, okay,
Everybody.
7. I feel like I'm in an auction. Well, I need one because I'm
We're signing on different.
Right about.
Did you copy of it?
I'm gonna, the one I need, I need to send to the state.
Oh, so that's 2.
But
Great. Make sure you double check. Make copies for everybody here.
That's why Margaret is making copies for the people.
I think I got all 3.
Yep.
Double check that.
Okay.
Make sure I got all 3. Here, Lisa.
I don't need the folder.
Or not.
Did any changes?
8 votes difference.
That change- And any for county executive?
I think it's the same.
So Paul is.
No, I think there was a.
I have another
Paul-
set that we need to start on. So if you'll start
David, I
on
want
that
to
set.
I didn't mean
Another
that.
one, because the sticky tape is on her signature. Sorry.
So 79 instead of 8. for
Yeah.
Howard.
You saw that on the one where we did the 0
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, you're right.
That's
Or maybe you
another
didn't.
set.
Marianne, do you mind fixing
It
this
didn't
right
make
here?
really that much difference.
79 and 8,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
keep this or give it back to her?
Anybody have a better?
Here.
I got another one.
That's okay. It's fading a little bit. That's good. Yeah.
Has to be blue.
I always use blue for official signatures.
I do too.
That way you can tell it from a copy.
Right. Unless you have a color copy.
Unless you use it, yeah.
So, okay.
Probably
So,
haven't changed MCDCC, just what it says.
I would guess that if it changed, it changed.
How about love and
love, that changed to 8 votes?
how much you change it for what?
David?
Yes, 8 votes.
And county executive, 79?
That is still the gap. The other one come to 8.
79.
Yeah. Somebody gonna, Jennifer wanted to know. Jennifer, you heard that?
I know. No, but I'm saying by being here, you
Yeah, you're gonna get a copy,
get
but
this faster.
county executive is 79 votes. But wait till you, right? And love is ahead by 8.
Thank you very much.
But I'm gonna get you a copy of this.
These are for you.
No, I don't.
More? Wait, did I get all 3 here?
Are they working together?
It's like all over the place.
Yeah, and then the last
They're
thing,
getting copies right now.
there they are.
Okay.
And now you all need to trade.
Yes.
And that's it. And I'm
That
done?
and these.
I've stabbed you.
That's
believe
okay.
it.
Yeah, then we're even,
And
right?
somehow we picked up someone's agenda, so I'm going to lay it
Oh.
right
Oh,
there.
that's mine,
That's,
yes. I shared with Jim.
Okay, but I want to...
Do we have one completely,
Lisa has that copy.
she's scanning it right now and sending it to the state board?
Okay.
Now, the
I'll
state's
ask
not going
her.
to certify until Thursday.
Well, but they need it right now.
Right. So that means the request for recounts
God
don't
knows
start
we
until
wouldn't want the
Thursday.
state to be.
And this will be online,
Kevin?
Within an hour and a half.
Okay.
My photocopier is the
Kevin?
internet.
I'm sorry. Oh, the same person. Got it. Okay.
Kevin? So the state now
And
certifies
Davis.
this by Thursday?
It'll be the same link.
And then they have
but
3
but
days
it
from
will now
Thursday
say-
to
Okay,
request a recount?
So that's how they'll know.
Okay.
Local race, county executive starts today.
Okay. I'll explain that first. Whose pen?
I'm sorry. What?
Mine.
Thanks.
What starts?
No,
Really?
the 3-day period to
This is
count.
why we need a new table.
I've
The
hated
Blair
this
the
table
Blair
for
Elrich
years.
recount has to be made 3 days from today.
Hated.
Oh, hated it.
The love-
the request.
No.
The request,
No.
the love recount request
No.
starts Thursday for 3 days, right? Because it's a state race. Does that make sense?
No, but that's
No.
fine.
No.
It really doesn't make any sense.
No,
but
no.
being told.
No.
Jennifer, did you get that?
That's right.
That is an example of just brute force.
So which one we start Friday? Do we start Friday? Okay.
Yes,
Is there a motion?
79.
I move.
Right, I will check.
I move adjourn.
What are you moving?
Adjourn the meeting, right?
Second.
Right, Kevin?
Right.
Okay, I did. Marianne, are you going to second me? We adjourn
I
the meeting.
seconded it.
Oh, good, thank you. I didn't hear you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Done.